And here we go. Digital Adele back with another Hoops Profile Beyond the Backboard podcast with my co-host, Matt Hanifan. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing outstanding, man. Can't wait to talk the Miami Heat and their 2024 NBA draft class. Before I do, just want to take care of some business here on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast, the Hoops Profile Beyond the Backboard podcast. If you're the part of our audience that loves the video breakdowns, we're going to certainly be doing more of that. Up next should be the Arkansas Razorbacks and Boogie Fland. Be on the lookout for that video. Should be coming out sometime here this week. Also, don't forget to give us a follow or 5-star review on the podcast side. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, even here on YouTube, anywhere that podcasts are found. Don't forget to give us a shout out there. And you can also find us on Twitter. You'll be able to interact with us, say hello. My Twitter handle is Digital Adele. You can find me. I'm easy to find. As well as on Playback, we are contributors at 5 Reasons Sports on Playback, doing all the Miami Heat content there with the 5 Reasons crew. Matt, tell them where they can find you, follow you, and get more of your work.
At MPH_824_. That's where you can find me on Twitter. If you want any of my written content, hothoops.com, vendettasportsmedia.com, mountainwestconnection.com. I'm ready to jump into it, man.
Let's do it. Let's jump right into the Miami Heat 2024 NBA draft class. And we're going to talk about the person that every single Miami Heat fan around the world wants to talk about. And that's Isaiah Stevens, the undrafted. No, I'm just kidding.
Not Thomas Bryant.
Not Thomas Bryant. No, it's a different big man. It's a different big man, believe it or not, exists on the Miami Heat roster other than Thomas Bryant. It is none other than Kel'el Ware, the 7-footer out of Indiana, super athletic, super raw prospect, but he's got an excellent touch around the basket, has some promise on his touch shooting from deep, needs a little work on the mechanics there. But let's talk about him, get your thoughts on him, and then I'll fill in some of the gaps. So what are your thoughts on Kel'el Ware?
He was one of the best players throughout Summer League, even though not everything was consistent on the court. Like the parts that I liked about him were also sometimes parts that I didn't like about him was like the rebounding. There are definitely times where I loved his rebounding. I loved his activity on the offensive glass. But then, as you and I have discussed ad nauseum, as well as some other guys, he gets boxed out pretty easily sometimes to where it's just like, all right, there shouldn't be a guy who's 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", boxing you out consistently. The touch, the shooting touch, the touch around the rim, like there were times where he's playing through contact and he's finishing above guys that he should be able to finish above, and then there's other times where the touch is inconsistent, and like that's more of like just hopefully you develop that with the more reps you get, the stronger you get over time. Like him in the post, like something that I want him to work on a lot. And I think he's worked on a lot, over the last 2-3 months since being drafted, is like his core strength, his lower body strength, just so he's able to get position better and maintain that position. His upper body strength, so he's able to play through guys, play through contact, because NBA players at his size, it's going to be a different level of physicality. Like he's 7 foot, 240, 250. Like there's going to be dudes who are much bigger or even not, maybe they're not even as big as him, but they're just stronger than him, and they're more physical than him, and he's going to have to learn how to play through contact consistently for hopefully 25 or 20-25 minutes a night, maybe even 30 minutes a night, depending on his role in the future, 5-10 years from now, if he's in Miami or not. And so that's something that I think he's going to be working on. Like I liked his vertical spacing, like how, especially when he's playing with a guy like Isaiah Stevens. Like you and I have also talked about this ad nauseum on and off air about how easy it is for Kel'el Ware to get set up when he's playing with a guy like Isaiah Stevens. Like he's so big, Ware, not Stevens. He's so big to where like you can just throw it up to him and he has like a good catch radius. Like he's able to throw it down, maybe not throw it down right away, but jump stop, catch it, and then finish it over someone at the rim. And so like Isaiah Stevens has made Kel'el Ware's life so much easier over time. Um, but then like some of the other stuff that like defensively, again, it's like there's flashes there. There's certainly flashes with the shot blocking, with him playing in drop, him breaking up lobs or whatever the case is, him getting in the passing lanes, maybe like. But then there's also the times where like the effort, the disposition isn't always there. Like there's a consistency issue with that. It's just like obviously over time you just want him to continue to stack reps together. But like you can see the flashes, the all around flashes. Even the shot, like he shot 30% or 20% from three in summer league. He shot 3 of 15. Like he was obviously way more effective when he was rolling to the rim, but like he even his last year at Indiana, he shot 43% on significantly lower volume, but like I think his shot was just better than it was when he was at Oregon. Um, and so again, like if you just continue to mold his game, his all-around game over time, like I think he could become a good player, but it's just a matter of him stacking it together, stacking the consistency. Like if you can do it once this game, do it the next one, do it the next one, and just continue stacking those good days, stacking all those reps together, and then you have yourself like a solid player with a very, very good foundation and skill set. But it's just a matter of consistency at this point of his career. And I think we saw that throughout Summer League, even though he was one of the best players, if not the best player, that we saw, at least from this rookie class.
Yeah, no doubt. Summer League, he played really well in spurts for the team. And for his talent level, his size and athleticism, especially like you said, playing with a guard that can set him up like Isaiah Stevens, he was able to maximize his offensive ability in the paint because he was able to just get the ball where he could score easily. In college, you brought up his lack of, we'll say, willingness to do his homework early and box people out, or to not allow himself to be boxed out. You can get away with that in college, and I harped on that a lot coming out of the draft. However, if you looked up at the numbers when he was done, he still averaged like 17 and 10. Like he still got to his numbers even with that low effort. And that's what the Heat are banking on, that sort of level of talent and athleticism. However, in the NBA, it's a little different. If you are, because he's only 230 pounds, he's not 240. You gave him even an extra 10. He's skinny, man, for being 7 foot tall. He's not going to be able to just out jump people and out long arm people. And one of the things that I think gets lost by not just regular fans, but just Heat fans in general, is how quickly decisions get made on the court, how quickly reads get made on the court. And so even though he's a big guy and he's athletic, if he's constantly setting moving screens, constantly out of body position, picking up cheap fouls, he's just going to be on the bench. It's not going to help you. And then your team's going to be in foul trouble. The other team's going to be shooting free throws early, and it's just hindering the team. So it's not that the Miami Heat don't think he has talent. It's not that the Miami Heat are enamored with Thomas Bryant's play. It's that he needs to continue to grow and develop at the NBA level when it comes to spacing, reading, reacting, effort, all those things. Even in transition defense, if he doesn't run the floor hard and he's not back in position to defend the rim, either he's not going to affect the play because he's just a shot blocker. It's not like he's going to break down and like face somebody up at the 3-point line. He's got to be back to defend the rim. If he's not giving that effort to get back, what's he going to do? He's going to foul. It's just one of those things. And I know people are like, but he's got to be better than Thomas Bryant. Athletically, yes, he is. Talent-wise, yes, he is. But all those little nuances that allow you to stay on the floor, he just doesn't have it yet. And that's okay. Nico didn't have it either, so it'll be fine. So I like Kel'el Ware's ceiling. Not so sure where his floor is, and that's what we're going to find out in the coming years. But I do like his touch overall. I do want to hit on his three-point shooting because you brought that up. His three-point shot, his form is kind of the issue. And he can't decide, like he's at this in-between phase where he wants to dip the ball really low and then bring it all the way back up. So ever since they tried to eliminate that, he's having a hard time finding that mechanic to be smooth, because you need knee bend, you need your elbow in, your eye on the target, follow through high. You need that whole process to be one fluid motion. And when they're trying to eliminate that huge long dip that he has, it's just been mixed results for him. But again, that's a work in progress. That's something you want to work on in Sioux Falls. You don't want to work on that during the regular season. You saw in preseason how his shot looked. I mean, he was bricking. He made one. Like, he'll make one or two, but then the others are just like way off. And you're like, what are we doing? In fact, I believe it was on playback. We were like, we need to institute that rule where he just doesn't shoot threes at all and just rolls to the basket every play. And so if you're going to limit what your options are, especially in this new philosophy of 5 out, how are you going to, how's that spacing going to work with Kel'el Ware on the floor?
Is that a rhetorical question? Or?
No, that's a legitimate question. How would it work if you took out Thomas Bryant as the backup center and you put Kel'el Ware? So think about this also. Jimmy Butler plays with that second unit. He also needs paint touches. So where is that? How's that spacing going to work? It just isn't.
Right, it's not.
Right.
You have to you have to utilize him as a screener.
You would have to utilize him as a screener, and he doesn't set screens very well.
Right.
He sets screens with his shin.
Right, and something else that I want to point out to you about his form, like, it feels like to me, maybe you have a different look on this, but it feels like he tilts his body.
Yes.
Like, he tilts it to the left, and that also can throw off, accuracy. Not long and short, but left to right in terms of where the ball is going. Especially if either your lower half or your upper half isn't consistent. And when it's not consistent, that even worsens the problem. And so, it's we're definitely a work in progress. And I definitely remember saying all right, he needs the Thomas Bryant, you can shoot threes in the preseason, but not in the regular season. But I also just saw Thomas Bryant take a step back three with 8 seconds left on the shot clock last night. And so who am I kidding?
He pump faked the guy.
To say there's any sort of Thomas Bryant treatment or rule instituted. And
Thomas Bryant pump faked the guy first, then did a step back.
I can't believe it. I've watched that clip at least 10 times today. I can't believe it. It's unbelievable.
It's hilarious.
It's so funny.
It's hilarious, man. It's one of the fun. I mean, that whole, you could put a compilation together of Thomas Bryant's play of that game, and it would just be one comedy reel. It's so funny. The dunk from half, at the half where there was 1.2 seconds left.
Yeah, at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, the end of the first quarter. Oh my God, was that hilarious? And then to get
no more
blocked.
Thomas Bryant talk for the rest of the show.
I promise. Yeah, I promise. I won't. Oh my goodness. Actually, I got one more. No, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about the second round pick, shall we? Let's talk about one Pelle Larsson. He seems to be the most likely to get minutes out of the rookies and the undrafted on the Miami Heat at some point in the season. It won't be anytime soon, though, because not only is he not, are they playing 9 or 10 in the rotation already? Josh Richardson just came back, and that's another wing, and that's where Pelle would fit. Now, just to give some backstory for people that may have not been watching my draft coverage, may not have watched preseason or summer league, Pelle Larsson played at Arizona. He's a 6'6" shooting guard / forward, if you're inclined to positions. And he's a sharpshooter. I mean, he's a knockdown shooter from the outside, plays really well out of the triple threat, has a nice feel for the game when the shooter, pass, or drive. He'll rebound, super physical offensively and defensively, willing to pick up 94 feet, stick his nose in there, rebound, and he's not afraid of the big moment. Miami Heat Summer League champions, game winners galore. Yeah, awesome player. I really like Pelle Larsson. What are your thoughts on Pelle Larsson?
Just to give you like he has there's a long pecking order for him to climb for him to get minutes. But I am with you. I do think he's the most likely to get more minutes. Like if you were to ask me who to get more minutes between Larsson and Ware during the regular season, I would probably be inclined to say Larsson. It's not like a big gap one way or the other. But like he's got Alec Burks, obviously Jimmy, Hero, Highsmith, Hawkes, depending on how you feel about, where Kashad Johnson is. Like I think they're probably on a similar pecking order to some extent. Richardson, Duncan, Jovic to something. Like there's a long list of guys that, I mean, obviously he's not going to be playing like the 4 all the time or anything like that, but just to get like consistent minutes, like obviously injuries can happen over an 82-game season. We've certainly seen that with the Heat, but he's got a long pecking order to climb for him to get consistent minutes. And he did struggle in preseason. Like it's fair to say that like there were times where he wasn't put maybe in the best context. I mean, yeah, sometimes he made lemonade out of lemons, but like there weren't very good lemons. You know what I mean? Like, and so like he struggled in preseason, but just his overall game, like the shooting, the playmaking, the defense that we saw, like he's a very good glue guy. Like you could look at the statistics when he was at Arizona, and you could be a little bit it's a little bit deceiving just because like he didn't light up the stat sheet or whatnot when he was at Arizona, but he was such a good glue guy. Like he was such a good, like he connected it. He gelled the units together with his shooting. Like he was 40% 3-point shooter his entire career when he was at Arizona, or at least for most of his career. He was a really good passer, like a secondary playmaker that he can he can get it off the catch at the wing or whatnot, create when he's off the bounce. He can he can connect. He's good in the pick and roll. Like he knows how to throw passes and like the velocity, the type of pass. He can make skip passes, all that. And then with his defense, like he was someone you could see right away from summer league that how he was, picking dudes up 94 feet. Like his body, his balance was something that stood out to me defensively. And something that we've talked about too, you and I, and others before. His contact balance, just like whether it's offensively or defensively, like he has a very good contact balance. Like he's not going to get pushed off his spot very easily when he's either driving to the lane or when he's defending someone in space one-on-one. Like he's very good with his hands too. He knows how to play the passing lanes. Like he can do a little bit of everything for you. And that's just something that I really appreciate with him. Like he's the master of all. He's the jack of all trades, master of none. But even then, like he's an exceptional shooter. To your point.
Absolutely.
And so like that, he was someone that I liked a lot, but he did struggle throughout the preseason. I don't think it's going to be right away. He may spend some time in Sioux Falls, like Ware possibly. And so like I'm very interested to see like what his role becomes, once December, January, February arrive. Because I do feel like at some point he's going to get minutes and he's going to impress some people, but I don't think it's right away, to your point.
No, absolutely. And one of the things that I think, they were trying to see is they threw him out in preseason to let him handle the ball against NBA ball pressure. And that's where he really struggled. He's not a primary ball handler. He really needs to work on that in the offseason. And that was one of the things that I thought made him struggle so much in the preseason is they had him handling the ball quite a bit as like a de facto PG, offensive initiator type guy. Give me 1 second here. And yeah, so I guess let me ask you this question. Let's do this. What does Kel'el Ware have to do to see the floor for the Miami Heat in the 2024 NBA season?
Defend consistently.
I'll take it a step further. I say defend consistently, give effort, and defend without fouling consistently. Like that's the big thing.
Yep.
Not committing silly fouls consistently. I think if he does those things, the rebounding, the finishing in the paint, I think, all that stuff he can do right away. But I agree with you. Those are the things I think he has to be able to do, and not just play drop. I don't think he can get on the floor playing primarily drop. He's got to at least be able to play at the level without fouling either.
Okay. I didn't expect you to say that. I mean, I don't know, but I'd have to think about that more.
Who
Because I
on
feel
the
like
Miami Heat plays primarily drop?
well, right. You want to be scheme versatile if you're the Miami Heat, but
Right.
I think Thomas, like,
Thomas Bryant
just
doesn't even play primarily drop.
no, I was gonna say Thomas. I think's more mobile
Yeah. But I
than
don't think
Ware. Like,
mobility is an
I
issue
think
for
they would
Ware.
start Ware and mostly drop, and then as he improves with that, like then he progresses. I mean, I don't think they're not gonna
But I don't think they put
blitz.
him on the floor though if he can't do more than that. May,
Maybe. I mean, it just
maybe
depends
for
on the personnel. Like, I think
yeah.
because even then, like, I don't think they did this his first year here, but they blitzed Kevin a lot,
Yeah.
and the results with that were bad.
Right. Right.
And so, like, I think just in my head when I'm thinking of like, all right, Kel'el, where's potential defensively? Like, obviously there's a court awareness aspect to it too, but I do think they do play a steady dose of zone, and that's where I think he's playing primarily drop.
So to get on the floor this year, he has to be able to play drop, and he's going to have to be able to have enough awareness to play in zone. Those are the two things for him to get on the floor defensively. Is what you mean?
I think if he can do it consistently, sure. That there's no guarantee that happens, but I think
Right.
if that happens, there's obviously a higher likelihood that he plays again. For me, it's just hard to see him playing over Kevin,
I agree with that
or at
100%.
least a little bit.
But I mean,
And
I
so
could see
maybe that
Kevin
doesn't
Love
happen.
taking veteran days off, though. I could see Kevin getting back to backs off, things like that. So,
Maybe.
so the real question is, what does he have to do to play over Thomas Bryant?
Not shoot a step back. No.
I think it's those things you mentioned. You hit on those. Play
Yeah.
defense, play it without fouling. He's going to play drop and be able to play in the zone without being out of position.
The zone stuff does terrify me a little bit when I say that out loud.
Yeah, because his
I don't think he
awareness
has the
isn't
court
great.
awareness to play zone. I don't think he does.
His awareness isn't great. If you just think of any penetration that happens and then they just kick it, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to be lost, dude.
I just think he's a big enough body to where they can get away with him starting in deep drop or semi deep drop.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's a little bit different if he was like 6'10".
For sure, it would be different.
With
Yeah.
those measurables, I think they can get away with it. Even though I think they want to work him up to playing at the level. And then
correct. That's where
in a
ideally
perfect
they
world
want
where
him
he's
to
playing
be.
in space.
Yeah, that's ideally where they want him to be, is to be able to switch off and be able to play in space a little bit. Not be locked down or anything, but just be able to contest without fouling. I don't know. It's going to be tough. That's why I said I don't see him getting on the floor. If he does, not until like late in the second half of the year. Like, I just don't see it. Whenever the Sioux Falls, when the Sioux Falls season is over and he's just, on the bench. What about Larsson? What do you think has to happen? Because you already went through all the people he has to climb over. Is it just injuries for him? Because I think he's ready to play now. I just think it would have to be just injuries or a trade or something would have to free up for him to be able to get minutes. I don't think it's him related specifically.
Yeah. I mean, like, to your point earlier, like the ball handling, if they just want to see him in practice, him consistently handling the ball well when he's in space or when he's, getting to the lane or stuff like that, handling the ball pressure. So they feel comfortable enough with him to where he's not, making simple turnovers.
Right.
And I say simple turnovers, I mean like getting stripped or whatnot.
Exactly. Yep.
Like, I feel like they want to see more of that from him, I guess, if you're just looking from like a development standpoint. And then obviously I know he can do this, but like just consistently defend. Like, I feel like the defending and then obviously the knockdown shooting, like those are tickets to get you on the floor, especially defense, in a Miami Heat context, because they are now preaching this, 5-out pace and space kind of offense, even if they don't, you know, always rely on that with like the Jimmy mid post touches or the Jaime mid post touches or whatever the case is. Like you want to know how to space the floor, and want to know obviously how to defend multiple positions. And I don't think he can't do that. Like we've seen him do it multiple times.
For sure.
But I think it's just in an NBA context specifically, him just doing it consistently in practice and putting that work in and continuing to improve in the areas he's already good at, in addition to improving areas he may be deficient at, like the ball handling. Like I think that's what's going to get him on the floor consistently, in addition to the injuries. Like Eric Spoelstra has a good problem at his hands, and like we may see him for spot minutes. Like he's even said before, like he's going to use his depth to his advantage. Like we saw on Saturday night, Haywood Highsmith get DNP CE. Like it wasn't hurt or anything like that. He just didn't crack the 9-10 man. And I think there might be a night where, I'm not saying it's going to happen in the near future or whatnot. It just depends on how everything shakes out. But there might be a night where it's just like, okay, yeah, he's getting minutes over a guy like Alec Burks for one reason or another. Like I can't tell you the reason why that would happen, but I feel like there's a night where it could happen. It may not be consistent. So if you're just looking for, if you're asking like, all right, how is he going to do it consistently?
Correct,
like,
consistently be in the rotation.
Yeah,
right.
Then I think it's got to be injuries, and I don't. Obviously, I'm not wishing an injury on anyone.
I got you.
And it's just the unfortunate situation that he's been being placed in, but I don't think he's going to take it as a slight or anything like that. Just on the outside looking in, I feel like he's going to continue to work and continue to get better. And you have to earn this. You have to earn the trust of Eric Spoelstra. Not that he doesn't have it already. Eric Spoelstra called him a plug-and-play player, but he is
unprompted. He unprompted called him a plug-and-play player.
Right, but like
exactly
I feel
right.
Like again, Eric Spoelstra has a really good problem at his hand, and so
yep.
Over the course of an 82-game season, that's gonna figure itself out.
I agree, and I think
he does find himself in that 10-man by the end of the season. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good problem to have, and I think outside of injury, the only other way is if a trade is made, and it consolidates the roster a bit, because depth is nice, but I don't think this team is just content with depth. If they can get a major piece by the trade deadline, or if they feel they have to shake up the roster, I think that would be another path. Because once you start getting into trades, you shrink the roster a bit, and you're already familiar with Pelle, what he can do, and how he can fit in with other players. So those are the only two likely paths I see this season for him as well, just because of how deep they are. And Spoelstra's already going 9 and 10 man deep, so it's tough sledding for those two guys. Let's pivot. We don't do this for most teams, but we're going to do it for the Miami Heat because it's our bread and butter. It's what we talk about all the time. It's our contributing to 5 Reasons Sports. So we live and breathe not just NBA draft picks, but the Miami Heat specifically. So this is kind of more for the Miami Heat audience. If you're national audience, by no means you don't have to turn it off. We want you to stay, like, subscribe, follow, all those good things. But we're going to talk the undrafteds, because I feel like around the league, Miami is known for their undrafteds. And their undrafteds this year are just outrageous. I mean, I know everybody was saying the 2023 draft, not that good. It's okay. Or 2000, no, it's still the 2024 draft.
Yeah, it was 24, not 23.
The 2000, I was like, wait, that's the Jaime draft. I was like, everybody's like, it's not great. It's the worst draft of all time and blah, 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 blah. They're going to look back and they're going to turn out and be like, oh, wow, there's some significant players that were in this draft.
They only look at the top 5 players when they say that.
That's true. That's a good point.
Sure, it's a flat draft, but like Tristan DeSilva going 18.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
Buck Carrington going 14.
He's started every game this season so far. Yeah.
Ryan Dunn going 28.
Who knew? Ryan Dunn, the sniper. No one saw that one coming.
I'll save that for the Suns part.
It's coming up soon.
Yeah, it's coming up in the near future, but I'll save that for the Suns episode.
Steph Castle playing significant minutes for the Spurs. Yeah, it's an outstanding draft. Edie started.
Edie playing for the
He started almost every game he started. He hasn't played particularly well. Well, he keeps fouling out.
Half serious question.
Like 15 minutes a game because he's in foul trouble. Like by the time the second quarter arrives.
Beautiful.
Like last game, he overcorrected. He had no fouls, but he had no shot blocks and 3 rebounds. Like
Yves Missi.
That's right. Yves Missi. Awesome. That's my guy. Yeah.
He's been awesome with New Orleans.
Absolutely awesome. Yeah, he's playing significant minutes for the Pelicans.
Blocking every shot comes.
Blocking. He's been blocking shots, competitive on the boards, finishes in the lane. I like the guy, man. But so our point is, this is a deeper class than people gave it credit for. And to get Kashad Johnson, the Miami Heat get Kashad Johnson as an undrafted player that we wanted in the second round. The Miami Heat get him undrafted. This guy in Summer League has been excellent. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. His on-ball defense has actually been excellent. His transition defense, the hustling, his standing people up with his long arms surprise people. He's gotten so many deflections without even jumping, just putting his long arms up. It's been unreal. And we're not even getting into his highlight package dunks. Talk to me a little bit about Kashad Johnson. Showtime.
The way that I liked to describe him before the draft was he was like a 6'10", or not 6'10".
He's not 6'10".
I was not 6'10". Like a 6'7" linebacker.
Yes.
But he's so unbelievably athletic too. Not that linebackers aren't athletic, no doubt. But I'm just saying he's so unbelievably vertically gifted.
Yes.
With his athleticism. His jump shot was broken when it was at San Diego State. It got a lot better his last year at Arizona. We actually saw solid glimpses of that in Summer League. He shot 38.9% in Summer League. He had a few pull-up mid-range jumpers that were really nice that I just did not expect to see from him at all because he doesn't have a good handle nor a tight handle. No. But everything else, his on-ball defense, his off-ball defense, he just completely popped off the page just because of where there's times where he's, 3-4 places at once, it feels like, when he's playing defense. In addition to, what he can do in transition. He runs the floor exceptionally well. He's a very good play finisher when he's around the rim. He was just someone that I liked a lot, and I can't believe he went undrafted. That's just
unbelievable that he went undrafted.
Yep. Because of his just obviously the shooting, you wanted to know if there's obviously questions okay, whether that's going to translate a 1-year wonder type deal when he was at Arizona, how is that going to translate? But the physical traits, the athletic traits, all of that stuff just completely popped off the page.
The versatility.
In addition to what he can do defensively, again, I'm not going to bash any single guy on here, but I can't believe he just went undrafted. I can't.
Yeah, it is mind-boggling for the amount of defense, transition, offense that he gives you, the rim pressure, all the intangibles, the hustle, the heart, all of it. He actually reminds me of a more athletic Alex Highsmith. Is actually what he reminds me of.
Alex Highsmith? Haywood Highsmith?
Alex Highsmith is the football player for my Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Who won last night.
I was thinking Haywood Highsmith too, but I was like, Alex
Haywood Highsmith. Yeah, it's a Haywood Highsmith. Sorry. I'm still basking in the glow of my Steelers win last night. All right. But yeah, Haywood Highsmith. He reminds me of a more athletic Haywood Highsmith. The shooting concerns and the shaky handle, all of that, but more athletic and just a dog, man. His jump shot's kind of Draymond Green-esque, like he's got a backpack on. And so that's kind of the issue. That's kind of the issue with his jump shot. But it has gotten better. Even in preseason, he would shoot an air ball and then come back and start making his shots. I don't know if it's because he wasn't warmed up, if he needs to be a starter, or for him to be comfortable. But dude would shoot an air ball and then come back and swish his next ones. So I think there's progress. I think he's got room to improve. But one thing I can tell you, Sioux Falls is going to be lit this year. Holy crap.
Yeah, baby.
Sioux Falls is going to be lit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
One Isaiah Stevens will be there. Pelle Larsson will be there. Kashad Johnson will be there.
Warren Washington will be there.
Who?
Warren Washington.
I know.
That joke went right over my head.
I saw
that second time.
I saw that. Wait. Where? There it is.
Yeah, there's the sound bite.
Oh,
not sound bite, soundboard.
There's the soundboard. That's right. But yeah, so Sioux Falls is going to be great. These guys are going to be but yeah, so more undrafted. Isaiah Stevens, are we going to talk about him because he didn't get a two-way? Do we want to talk Josh Christopher's two-way? I don't think so. He's not a draft pick.
Josh Christopher's not a rookie. He's been in the league 3 years.
Exactly. So I think we're done here. Let me ask you this. Around the league, what stood out to you this week around the NBA?
Again, we're saving the Ryan Dunn portion for the Phoenix Suns podcast.
We'll save the Ryan Dunn. All right. So that's all that stuck out to you. Okay, cool.
The single thing.
The single thing is just Ryan Dunn.
It's just Ryan Dunn. That's it.
All right, man. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to get out of here on that. Before we do, just don't forget to like and subscribe, people. It really helps us out. If you want to become a channel member here on YouTube, get access to all this content early as soon as it's recorded and out, make sure you become a channel member. Super easy. Only $2.99 to do that. If you want to follow us on Playback for the Miami Heat content, that's playback.tv /5RSN. I'll still do some breakdowns, even though Playback's being kind of weird about the college basketball games. You can follow me at playback.tv /hoops profile and follow Matt, man. Get Matt's content to pop. Where can they find you, Matt?
At MPH_824_ hothoops.com, vendettasportsmedia.com, mountainwestconnection.com, watchplayback.tv /5RSN. I didn't say #5RSN this time. I'm proud of myself.
He's learning.
I'm making progress, just like Kel'el, Ware, and Pelle Larsson will be in the coming weeks, days, months, however you want to phrase it.
I thought you were going to say like Thomas Bryant's jump shot.
There's no progress on that thing. No.
So I saw a tweet. From the Miami Heat, and it was at MPH, and I was like, I did a double take. I was like, oh wait.
Yeah, I did say that.
I was like, that's not the full name. That's not it.
Come on, man. Come on, Miami Heat. If you're listening to this, man, hit my line, man.
I'm telling you, PR interns, do not be afraid to at me and Matt Hanifan.
No.
I mean, we will blow up that tweet. I promise.
100%.
But yeah, that is it for today, guys. I'll see you next time.